Why, hello, YouTube! Greetings from the Lazy Eyebrow Reviewer. So, seeing how this is my 33rd review, I thought it best to save this figure for this slot. For my 33rd review, here is my first third-party figure, and dang is this guy cool! It's Mastermind Creations KM02 Knight Morpher Annihilator, or third-party Hearts of Steel Nemesis Prime, or, as movie Space Jump calls him, Up to Choo Choo, or the other name he calls him, Locumus Prime. But Annihilator sounds so much cooler for a name, so that's what he'll be referred to for the rest of the video. Annihilator comes packaged in a pretty sweet box, with an image of him on the front both in robot mode and his train mode, which I find incredibly amazing. Being I'm a huge fan of trains, especially steam-powered ones, it's hard to come by Transformers that take train forms. That being said, if anybody has a reasonably priced rail racer they'd like to sell, I'd be more than interested. Also interesting to note on this box is a cool little story about the background behind this character, and a picture on the back depicting that story. I'll post it in the description, by the way. Interesting to note, though, they have a picture here of Knight Morpher Ultra, a Hearts of Steel repaint of Optimus Prime as Ultra Magnus. Yet, they didn't make one. Oh well. Another interesting point to note, even though this is the repaint of Hearts of Steel Optimus Prime was never even really featured in the 4-issue Hearts of Steel comics. He does make one appearance, but he's in stasis, and the panel is of him in stasis as well as he says, "I'd better not wake him." Oh well, on to the review. Annihilator comes packaged in train mode in a form-fitting plastic bubble shell. Not much to say about that, other than it's quite sturdy. One accessory featured exclusively for train mode is 2 pieces of connecting track that perfectly fits Annihilator's wheels. So let's roll him on up and take a look at him. Annihilator is styled after a 19th century steam locomotive, but not necessarily based on any particular one. This isn't the Eliminators line we're talking about. All in all, though, I am impressed with the overall look of the figure, especially KM02. The solid black paint is reminiscent of the style of the trains from the area, as opposed to Optimus' paint scheme, which would have made him stand out like a locomotive straight out of the island of Sodor. The brass detailing also really makes things that might have been missed on Commander's paint job pop out at you, especially the steam feed pipe, which is styled very similar to the G1 trailer stripe. And the back we find extra detailing on the cab, all brought out with the brass-colored paint, such as the ladder, the door, and other various details. And look! There's even a cow catcher! Oh yeah, I'm definitely impressed with this alt mode. Now, in keeping with tradition with my Optimus reviews, let's review the trailer first. I think this trailer is downright awesome. It looks similar to the G1 trailer, opens like the G1 trailer, and becomes part of the locomotive itself. How cool is that? Featured inside is an artillery cannon that moves up and down along a groove track and swivels, which is pretty cool. On the back of the trailer is a swing-out hitch for connecting future figures, such as the Energon Seekers that were just released. Which brings me to my only possible complaint for this alt mode. Something that I might have wished for this figure is that these locomotives, because of their size, always had a coal tender, and I think it'd be kind of cool if that was what Optimus trailer was a coal tender. However, I'm still quite happy with this. Maybe a coal tender will be featured next to hitch on the back or something? Who knows? Anyway, the trailer wasn't what you came for. You came here for this part, the front of the train. Well, there's not much to say about this part that wasn't covered in the overall opening review, and I think that set this mold out as being unique. Other Optimus Prime figures usually are just a truck that is featured. Occasionally a set comes out that comes with a trailer, but regardless, the truck is what you want, and as much as you hate to admit it, the truck can stand by itself in alt mode and not look too out of place. But not so with this guy. This figure needs his trailer. Without it, it's not a complete train, and it just looks overall weird. Now on to transformation. Split the cow catcher, fold down the legs and extend them, open the calf panels, rotate the buffers down, followed by the feet, close the calves, remove the funnel, lift open the back plate, swing the arms around and click them into place, push out then down the arms, open the chest, flip the head up and you're done. And even in robot mode, dang, this figure's awesome! Is there much kibble? No. Does this look like a big black Optimus mold? Yes! And that is amazing. Once again, the brass stands out and makes all the cool details pop out and draw attention to themselves, and I am super happy to own this figure. As for articulation, his head is on a pretty sweet ball joint for a wide range of directional head movement. His eyes have wicked light piping, much like the Cyclonus figure I reviewed a long time ago. A flip-down eye shield visor is also featured, so now he got shutter shades. Joking aside, I think this is a pretty cool feature. Shoulders are supposed to ratchet at the lock-in point, Mine did on one arm until I sent it in for repair. Now they just friction joint on mine. But at least both arms click in now as opposed to one arm clicking in. Outward movement, bicep swivel, friction and ratchet joint make for a double jointed elbow. Ball jointed hips, about a 70-degree knee bend, and feet that can rotate left and right. All in all, for a third-party toy, this isn't bad articulation at all, especially seeing how this is the first mold design. Based on this figure alone, I'm quite impressed with Mastermind creation. Now let's talk accessories. The funnel can fold in and out to form a G1-esque ion blaster, and personally, I'm impressed at both how they stored it as a funnel and its likeness to Optimus' iconic blaster. An unfolding shield is cleverly stored in between the trailer and the boiler, and can be used in the port on his arm. And a really sweet sword is also found inside, but unfortunately doesn't clip in or store anywhere except loose inside the trailer. Regardless, the sword is still pretty awesome, and with a shield in the other arm, ooh man does he ever look cool. Stored underneath the trailer are pointed hands at a 45-degree angle, which makes it good for holding the sword and shield in new poses. The artillery cannon pops out of the rotational socket and has a bunch of nifty little features. First, it splits into pieces, and these can be used to make different things. For instance, removing the cap from the stick found inside reveals a pull-out lance. Plug in the handle, and now you've got a cool lance and shield. The clips included allow you to store both the sword and lance onto his backside for extra storage during robot mode. And now for the extra 2 canisters used for the artillery cannon. Using the slots on the bottom, plug him into the back to make his jetpack. This is one of the crazier features of this mold, and yet so awesome. Like, this takes some clever thinking to say, hey guys, let's put the rest of the parts here. Kinda looks like a jetpack to me. And finally, his last accessory. Opening up his chest reveals his matrix of something evil, I guess. Clearly not leadership, that's Optimus. Alas, he cannot hold this little piece of awesome, but oh well, it's still pretty sweet that he has it. Not that I ever really use it anyway. I mean, the only time I really even see MP10's matrix is whenever I have to transform it. Never really see it in robot mode, but I digress. So here we have Annihilator with all of his accessories. Honestly, he is a pretty sweet figure, and I highly recommend picking either this guy up or Commander. But wait, there's still 3 minutes left for this review! Well, a recent trip to Cherry Bomb Toys in Victoria, BC grants me the ability to continue this review. The first third-party accessory to this third-party toy is a bib-looking piece of cloth. To put this thing on, remove the head, open the chest, pop the cloth over the ball joint, and replace the head. Not a bib, but a pretty epic-looking cape. This cape itself was not intended for Annihilator. This is the Cherry Bomb Toys Honor Guard Morpher Cloak. They make and sell 3 different color-schemed capes. This one for the Commander is a dark navy blue with a red insignia on the back. The one intended for Annihilator is red with a black insignia. And finally, they have a black shattered glass cape with a green insignia for the Knight Morpher KM01X. Another accessory that the Cherry Bomb Toys made for the Annihilator is a secondary sword, and a much cooler sword in my opinion. The Chaos Blood Sword. This black and translucent red sword is definitely befitting of a character whose only purpose is to destroy literally everything in its path. What's also cool about it is that it's on a 5mm peg. In fact, all of KM02's accessories are on 5mm pegs. So that means practically anybody from the Classics line can hold these accessories. So let's bring on the size comparisons while we're pointing out this fact. Here's Generation Thundercracker representing the Seekers. He comes about to mid-chest level and holds the Chaos Blood Sword like a champ. Transformers Prime Robots in Disguise Cliffjumper, who's even shorter than Thundercracker. Or a more recent addition to my collection, Classics Optimus Prime, which is great because I didn't get any guns with, you know what, I'll say that for another review. So, can he be posed? Oh, he most certainly can. Behold, as he just takes down a lesser train. Or take this for example, a work in progress, which you will see later. So that does it for my review of Mastermind Creations' KMO2 Knight Morpher Annihilator. He's an excellent figure, and I highly recommend picking at least one of these guys up. Granted, they're hard to come by now. Only 2,000 of KMO2 are made. But if you can, I say get one. They're well worth the money, especially if you're like me and are a huge fan of trains. This has been the Lazy Eyebrow Reviewer.
Trickety-tock, trickety-tock, trickety-tock.